Hey everyone, it's me, Sloth. Yeah, God damn Hey everyone, it's me, Sloth. And in today's video, I'm going to be showing how to play Knight. I'll be showing off my Knight build, how to join Knight, and all the Knight abilities and all that good stuff in this video. So if you want, timestamps will be in the description. But without further ado, let's get into the video. So first things first, I'll be going over the Knight abilities. One interesting thing about Knight though is that they're actually one of the few classes that have a unique subclass passive, which is Defensive Bastion, which putting points in Vitality gives you an extra 0.5 defense. And it's just like 3 passives in like one. You get each Knight base abilities to increase power for every 100 bonus HP you have. And for every enemy that damage you within the first 10 seconds of combat, gain increased defense. The first ability they have is called Taunt, which is just an AoE debuff ability, which will force all enemies to attack you. So as you can, these are trained dummies, so they're not going to attack me, but as you can see, I'm doing like 300 to 1,000 damage, and if I use the Taunt debuff, it lowers their defense, so it actually increases my damage on this enemy. And the duration for the debuff will actually increase the more you attack the enemy you taunted. The next ability is called Fortify, and this is your typical like party AoE buff ability. It just increases damage reduction, and it increases extra damage reduction if you have for every 100 bonus HP you have. But yeah, it's a simple 30-second duration damage resistance buff. The next ability is just called Cleave, which is just this melee attack where you attack in a bunch of like subsequent arcs. And they do more damage if you land all of the slashes. But if you miss some, obviously, like, it's not going to do as much damage. There is a hidden interaction with this ability where if you use a two-handed weapon, it will actually increase the radius and do 50% more damage, but you get 2 less strikes, and that looks like this. Knights also have Chain Pull, which will pull enemies towards you, unless if it's a resilient enemy like a boss, it'll pull them to you pull yourself to the enemy. Chain Pull also has good synergy with the Taunt ability, because if you use it on an enemy with the Taunt debuff, it'll actually always crit and it'll stun the enemy as well on top of the Chain Pull thing. Also, of course, Knights still have Shield Bash. It actually used to be called Shield Charge, but they correctly fixed that bug and named it Shield Bash now. And basically, it's as simple as ever. You just bash into an enemy and it stuns them with it. One thing about this ability is it is considered a mobility ability, so you won't be able to use it with things like Defensive Stance or if you're out of stamina. The final ability is Defensive Stance, which I kind of showed in the beginning of this video by accident, but basically you enter this stance where you can't use roll or any other mobility moves. You can kind of move if you use Ground Slam. But anyway, once you get hit a bunch with this, you'll explode. It's similar to that one ability that the Captain boss has, where like he starts charging up and if you attack him, he blows up. They pretty much just gave that ability to Knight. To become a Knight, you simply have to be a level 30 base warrior and make your way over here where the blacksmith and stuff is, and the trainer will be right over here. I forget if the trainer gives you a shield when you join or not, so if it doesn't, you can always just buy one right here. But yeah, that's about it. For the Knight build, you pretty much just want 150 vitality and then just pour the rest of the stats into strength. The 150 vitality is, you want that because it gives you so much HP, and since Knight benefits a lot from having a bunch of HP, it's really like the party stat. I mean, if you're playing Knight, you want to play a tank class, so I don't know. You could do more points in the strength if you don't like want to do more damage or something. But at that point, you might as well just be a berserker. So 150 vitality, and then you just pour the rest of the stats into strength. The skills, I've maxed out Taunt. Taunt is just really good. I put 1 point of Fortify. If you do a lot of PvP, like especially Tribute Wars, I can see why you'd want this maxed out, because it is actually a bit busted when you max it out in PvP. People have a hard time killing you. But I don't really care about that much, so 1 point. Shield Bash I put 2 points into. I just put the rest. I maxed out everything. I didn't really like this ability that much because honestly, the cooldown is just way too long and it's just one hit. I don't know. Cane Pull, max that out, and then Cleave, I've maxed that out as well. I've also maxed out Defensive Stance because while this may seem like a PvP ability, and it definitely is really good in PvP, it's actually also useful in boss fights. You're actually just sometimes able to take like huge chunks of HP from bosses. Let me see if I can show it right here. Oh my god. Get over here. There we go. Yeah, if you can get a boss to hit you a bunch of times and you detonate, you can actually just take big chunks of HP from them, so I actually kind of like this ability for PvE. For the warrior skills, you definitely want to max out Spin Slash because this is one of Knight's main DPS tools, and then I would max out Roll. The rest of the points don't really matter. I mean, I put 5 points on a shield parry, but honestly, shield parry is kind of useless, so you don't really need that. And the adventure skills are just whatever, they don't really matter. For the equipment, you can have a lot of diverse equipment, but the one thing I would stick to is having Head Slime. Head Slime is really OP for Knight because it basically just gives you infinite mana. You're tanking a lot of hits, and then you get free mana for tanking those hits, so it's really useful, especially in PvP, but I also would argue it's useful in PvE as well. You don't really have to chug mana elixir at all, unless you're just not getting hit. And then for the shield, if you have one, I would use the Golden Dragon Shield. The Golden Dragon Shield gives you this ability called Dragon's Embrace, which looks like this. You just have this thing circle, the dragon circle around you, and it just does a lot of damage. But this is an event item, so if you don't have it, you can always just use a Tua shield. That's also a very good option. This makes Cleave do the Moko Tua attack, the brum, 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 brum. So it's also pretty useful for damage, so I'd use that if you don't have a Golden Dragon Shield. And then obviously for the armor, this is also an event item, but this is also a really good armor. It basically just makes your attacks do firework damage, and it's a really cool, and it's good for damage. So if you have one of these laying around, use that. If not, then just any good warrior armor is fine. If you have arcane armor, mushroom armor, whatever, like anything else would work, honestly. The boots, I just use Sea Beast boots. Again, this you could do a lot with. You can use any type of boots if you want. This one, I think they're really well-rounded boots. They give you defense, they give you a good amount of stamina, and they give you a good amount of strength. So these are my favorite boots for Knight, but you could use other stuff too. And then for the sword, you can also use a lot of stuff. I mean, I just use this Fierce Gilded Katana. I know one really solid option is if you have this Frozen Moko Club. The Frozen Moko Club is good for really long fights because it just does this like ice burst of damage. Here, let me see if I can show it. But basically, the Moko Club ability is good because, as you can see, every attack will add these like ice stacks, which is really good with the Dragon Shield because it's just attacking a ton of hits per second. You combine this with spamming Spin Slash and Cleave and all that stuff, and then eventually the ice will burst and it'll do like a stupid amount of damage. Well, it kind of bursted at the end, but as you can see, I did like a respectable amount of damage for having clean weapons and armor and being a tank Knight build. So yeah, the Frozen Moko Club, if you have one of these laying around, they're pretty expensive because people realize how OP these weapons were. But if you have one of these laying around, this is actually currently the best weapon if you use this with the Dragon Shield. That's pretty much all I have to say to wrap up this video. What the heck? Why is Queso over here now? I don't know why Queso's here now, but anyway, that's going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you in the next bi-yearly upload. Goodbye.